Since it was opened by Prince Arthur in 1872, music has always been an important part of what Roundhay Park has to offer the city of Leeds. You only have to notice how many bandstands the park boasts to know that. They provided a platform for musicians at the park's many annual events, including tattoos and the much-loved Children's Days, when Roundhay would be treated to music from brass bands and even bagpipers. In 1964, the Dave Clark Five were one of the first pop bands to play in the park, fresh from knocking the Beatles off the top of the charts with their hit Glad All Over. But it wouldn't be until the early 80s that Roundhay Park Arena would really earn its place in rock and roll history. It started with a call to Michael Johnson, the Chief Music Officer at Leeds City Council, in the spring of 1982, quickly followed by a high-level confidential meeting with top rock and roll promoters Kennedy Street. They were looking for a large outdoor venue for a show by one of the biggest bands in the world. A stroll around the arena at Roundhay confirmed to Kennedy Street this was the ideal place for the mystery acts to conclude their 1982 world tour. However, Leeds City Council were in two minds about the sheer scale of the concert, the first of its kind to be held in a public space in Leeds. Thankfully, Leeds decided to be bold, and on July the 25th, 1982, the Rolling Stones appeared in Roundhay Park before a sellout crowd. The head count was officially around 90,000, but was probably nearer 120,000. The show was a tremendous success and set Leeds on a journey to being the cultural centre it is today. Next, Leeds would welcome the boss himself. Bruce Springsteen chose Roundhay for the final date of his 1985 Born in the USA World Tour. Springsteen had finally become the rock god he was meant to be after a decade of cult status in America. The Leeds gig was a celebration of that global success and is probably the most fondly remembered of all the huge events here at Roundhay. Only acts at the peak of their popularity could realistically fill this arena, and thanks to the Yorkshire weather, every gig needed to take place between June and September, and preferably not in term time to keep the disruption to local schools to an absolute minimum. Although, in 2006, Robbie Williams brought his Close Encounters tour to Roundhay on the first Friday of the new school year. So the local schools opted to close for the day, probably earning him a lot of young fans here in Leeds. Back to 1987, and it was a big year for Roundhay. The arena hosted two huge shows that summer. The Genesis Invisible Touch tour came in June, and then Madonna's Who's That Girl tour paid a visit in August. Both acts were at the height of their fame, proving Roundhay was one of the elite UK outdoor venues, second only to Wembley. There could have been a third show that summer. U2 wanted to bring their Joshua Tree tour to the park, but two shows were deemed enough, and they played Elland Road instead. U2 finally got to play Roundhay in 1993 and 1997 with their Zoo TV and Pop Mart tours. In 1988, arguably the biggest pop star in the world came to Roundhay. Michael Jackson thrilled Leeds with his show promoting the Bad album. It was the high point for Roundhay as a venue. The last big show of the 1980s was by a band who had taken the long route to superstardom. Simple Minds' first visit to Leeds had been a decade earlier in the music room of the legendary, some would say infamous, Ford Green pub in Hare Hills. Lead singer Jim Kerr clearly remembered it as he mentioned that gig on stage at Roundhay in front of a crowd 1,000 times bigger. In the 1990s, the big shows kept coming, with both Michael Jackson and Genesis revisiting in 1992. But musical tastes had changed, and a different kind of event arrived in Roundhay in the year 2000. The Love Parade, sponsored by the BBC, catered for the rave and EDM scenes and ran over a bank holiday weekend. The timescale and the accompanying comings and goings proved a challenge for Roundhay locals and for the city. It would be 6 years before another huge music event would arrive in the park, as Robbie Williams played for 2 sellout nights. Thankfully, those shows went off without a hitch, and Robbie has recalled how they were a personal turning point for him. Despite that success, it would be another long wait for the next big event, when Ed Sheeran played 2 nights in August 2019. But this year, Roundhay was back to hosting global music superstars with the inaugural Roundhay Festival, featuring headliners Pitbull and Lewis Capaldi, who returned to Roundhay after supporting Sheeran in 2019. There's no doubt there's still a great musical future for Roundhay and Leeds as a city.